Hello everyone, today we are going to do the reading answers of a passage Mrs. Carlill and the Carbolic Smoke Ball. It is a very long passage, so let's look at its answers and explanations. Let's begin with the first four questions which are true, false, not given. The first question is, cities rather than rural areas were badly affected by the pandemic flu. So there was a flu, and in the statement they are saying that cities, they were badly affected and rural areas were not that badly affected as compared to the cities by this pandemic flu. So the answer is not given, because in the whole passage, they have talked about the flu, that the world was in the grip of the first truly global flu pandemic. They have talked about whole cities came to a standstill. London was especially hard hit, so the cities, they have talked about that they came to standstill, which means they were very badly affected by the pandemic flu. But they have not talked about the rural areas, the countryside, the villages, that whether they were as badly affected or not as badly affected as the cities due to this flu. So that is why the answer is not given, because they have talked about the cities but not about the rural areas, not about the situation of the rural areas that were affected by this pandemic flu. So the answer is not given. And now the second question, at the time of the flu pandemic, people didn't know the link between microorganisms and illnesses. So they are saying when the flu came, the pandemic came, people did not know at that time that there was a link between microorganisms and the illnesses. So the answer is false, which means that we have to locate that people knew at that time also that illnesses are caused by microorganisms too. Okay, they knew the link between these two things. So let's see where it is written in the passage. Okay, it's here. By now, so by now they are talking about by the time the flu has come. Okay, the people, they have seen the flu, the pandemic, the theory that microorganisms caused disease was gaining around. So by now, the theory that diseases are caused by microorganisms was gaining ground, which means it was getting popular, which means that people knew by that time that microorganisms, they caused illnesses, they caused diseases, but no one had identified an organism responsible for flu. Okay, so they are saying that at that time, by that time, people knew that there is a link between microorganisms and the illnesses, but they were not able to identify a particular organism, or you can say a particular microorganism that was responsible for that particular flu. Okay, so they are saying the particular microorganism they didn't know about, which particular microorganism caused the flu, but they knew that there was a link between microorganisms and diseases, that microorganisms caused illnesses. So definitely the answer is false, because people knew the link. Okay, it is another thing to say that they didn't know about the microorganism that caused that particular flu. Okay, now the third question. People used to believe flu was caused by miasmas. Okay, so in the next line only, it is the location of the third question. In the absence of a germ, so because they didn't know about what microorganism caused that flu, so many people clung to the ideas of bad airs or miasmas, possibly stirred by some great physical force, earthquakes perhaps, or electrical phenomena in the upper atmosphere, even a passing comet. So they were saying that they were building their own theories, like superstitions, you can say, that a comet passed, so definitely it released some bad air, and that is why this flu is occurring, like that superstitions of those people at that time. So because when they didn't know about the microorganism that caused the flu, so they clung to these old ideas, these superstitious ideas. So the answer is true, because people used to believe flu was caused by miasmas. Here it is written. Now, fourth question. Flu prescriptions often contained harmful ingredients. So, when they visited doctors related to the flu, the prescriptions that doctors gave the people, they contained harmful ingredients. So, let's see in the next paragraph. they have written about doctors advising people to eat well and avoid unnecessary assemblies. Okay, and then if they fell ill, they should rest, keep warm, and eat a nourishing diet of meat, eggs, sorry, milk, eggs, and farinaceous puddings. So these are the things that doctors prescribed to the people. So they are saying that alcohol figured prominently among the prescriptions, that alcohol was the one thing that was frequently among the prescriptions of the doctors. One English doctor suggested champagne, although he conceded brandy M in considerable quantities has sometimes been given with manifest advantages. French doctors, they prescribed warm alcoholic drinks, arguing that they never saw an alcoholic with a flu. Okay, their prescription had immediate results. Over a 3-day period, 1,200 of the 1,500 drunks picked up on the streets of Paris claimed they were following doctors' orders. So the doctors, their prescriptions usually included alcohol, warm alcoholic drinks, because they never saw the persons who drink alcohol with flu. So that is why they advised people to drink alcohol and have some other alcoholic drinks. Okay, so these were the prescriptions of the doctors. But now in the question, that they are saying that flu prescriptions often contained harmful ingredients. So we don't know about this, because definitely alcohol was among the prescriptions a lot, but whether there was a harmful ingredient in those alcoholic drinks, which was the reason there were some side effects that people were facing, it has not been written anything like that. So definitely the answer of the fourth question is not given. Now let's move on to the questions 5 to 8. Okay, so there is a diagram that has been given and we have to label it. Okay, so this is a rubber ball according to the answers I am telling. This is a rubber ball, and in this rubber ball the content is powder, and this is the nozzle. Okay, nozzle is a cylindrical round, at the end. So definitely this must be the nozzle, and this is covered by a gauze. So let's see how these answers came, where it has been located in the passage. Here they have written the carbolic smoke ball was a hollow rubber ball. So definitely they are asking about what is this? This is a rubber ball, and we can only write two words, either one word or two word, not more than that. So we have written here rubber ball. Okay, so this is the answer of the eighth question, and this is 5 centimeters across with a nozzle. So this rubber ball also have a nozzle, as I have told you that nozzle is a cylindrical round. So definitely the answer of the sixth question will be nozzle, because this is a cylindrical round at the end of this rubber ball. Okay, now this nozzle, this was covered by a gauze. So this is the nozzle, so this is the covering, and this is covered with gauze. So definitely the answer of the fifth question is gauze. And now what was the inside? What was the content? Inside was a powder that was treated with carbolic acid or phenol. So what was the actual content? The content was powder. So that's why the answer of seventh question is powder. Now let's move on to the questions 9 to 12. A list of statements is given, and we have to match these statements with 4 persons whose names are given as the questions 9 to 12. So ninth question, Mrs. Carlill, the answer is C, initiated a legal case. So they are saying that Mrs. Carlill initiated a legal case. Okay, now let's see where it is written. It is written here. Mrs. Carlill, her first name was Louisa. So Louisa, when she got recovered, she sued. Louisa recovered and sued. The word sue means like initiate legal proceedings against someone. Okay, so definitely Louisa initiated a legal case. The word sued, we can come to know from that. So the answer of ninth question is C, And now 10th, Mrs. Carlill's husband A filed a complaint which was never responded to. So Mrs. Carlill's husband filed a complaint, then there was no reply of that complaint. So a paragraph above we can see, on 20 January, Louisa's husband, which is Mr. Carlill, wrote to the Carbolic Smoke Ball Company. Unfortunately, he happened to be a solicitor. A solicitor is a lawyer. So Louisa's husband was a lawyer. His wife, he wrote, had seen their advert. His wife saw their advertisement and bought a smoke ball on the strength of it. She had followed the instructions to the letter, whatever was written there. She had followed the instructions, and yet now, as their doctor could confirm, she had the flu. Still, she had the flu after even following the instructions as it was mentioned in the advertisement. So this was the letter that Mrs. Carlill's husband wrote, and in the next line it has been written that there was no reply, which means there was no reply to this letter. So definitely the answer of 10th question is A, that her husband filed a complaint which was never responded to. Now 11th question, Judge Hawkins. Answer is D. Judge Hawkins described the audience of advertisement, that advertisement was there, but it was intended to what type of audience. This Judge Hawkins described. Okay, so it is here again in this paragraph. Judge Hawkins pointed out that advertisements were not aimed at the wise and thoughtful. So that advertisement was not intended at the wise and thoughtful people, but at the credulous and weak. So credulous, this means the persons who can be easily persuaded to believe something. So definitely he pointed out that this advertisement was pointed at the weak and credulous people who could be easily convinced that what the advertisement said was true. So definitely the answer of the 11th question is D, because Judge Hawkins was the one who described the audience of the advertisement. Now question number 12, Lord Justice Bowen. Answer is F. He treated advertisement as a type of contract. Okay, so let's see where it is written. In the second last paragraph, you can say, it seems to me that if a person chooses to make extravagant promises of this kind, he probably does so because it pays him to make them. So he's talking about the advertisement, that when a person makes some kind of promise in an advertisement, he does so because it benefits him. And if he has made such promises, the extravagance of the promises, so whether those promises were extravagant because they were exaggerating the truth, so though that extravagance of that promises is no reason in law why he should not be bound by them. So this was said by Lord Justice Bowen, which means he's saying that when there is an advertisement and there is some kind of promise made in that, the extravagance or the exaggerance of that promise is no reason why he should not be bound by them, which means indirectly he is saying that the person who makes such advertisement is bound by the promises that he makes in those advertisements, which means that he is considering advertisements as a type of contract. Because if a person is bound by the promises of an advertisement, then definitely it is a type of contract, because we people are bound by contracts. So definitely a person who makes promises in advertisement is also bound by that promise of advertisement. So he is considering that advertisement as a contract. So the answer of 12th question is F. And now the last question, 13th question. This is an MCQ. Why is Mrs. Carlill's case often cited in present day court trials? So why is Mrs. Carlill's case often cited in today's court trials? Because it established the validity of one-sided contract. So one-sided contract, it simply means unilateral contract, you can say, because the word unilateral means performed by or affecting one person or one group. Okay, so this is one-sided contract, unilateral contract. This case of Mrs. Carlill's, it established the validity of this one-sided contract. So in the last line of the passage, it has been written that the case established the principle of the unilateral contract, which means the principle of one-sided contract, and is frequently cited today. So this is we can see clearly that this is the reason why it is cited in today's courts, because it established, it validated the one-sided contract. So let's see what the other options were. A option, it proved the untrustworthiness of advertisements. No, it is not so. C option, it explained the nature of contract. No, it does not explain the nature of contract. D option, it defended the rights of consumers. It did not defend the rights of consumers in all cases, so we cannot say, because it only defended the rights of consumers when it was a one-sided contract. So that is why the answer of the 13th, that is the last question, is option B. It established the validity of one-sided contract. So with this, we have come to know all the answers and the explanations of this reading passage, which is Mrs. Carlill and the Carbolic smoke ball. Still, if you have any doubt, you can just simply ask me in the comment section. I would be very delighted to respond to your comments. So that's for today. Goodbye.